Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, James Protin. Every week I will be sharing the experiences that have defined my journey and talking with people who have their own powerful story to tell. It's about doing better and being better in life, business, and all things in between. The visually inclined can catch us on YouTube, or you can check us out on just about every podcast platform. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Our guest this morning is Tyler Lewis, the co-founder of Jackworth Ginger Beer, and we are coming to you from our vacation spot for week number 2 of our podcast vacation, the Cohatch facility in Shadyside, Pittsburgh. Tyler, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, this is a place that I spend a lot of time in.
Yeah, I understand that. So what do you do here?
So Cohatch is a great co-working space, and has had a lot of impact in building my business, which is Jackworth Ginger Beer, as you mentioned. We are Pennsylvania's first ginger beer brewery, which means we are an alcoholic ginger beer brewery. We create a 5% ABV ginger beer, one of only a handful in the United States. So very unique product, kind of niche, right here in Pittsburgh. In addition to that, we also create non-alcoholic ginger beer. There's a big market for that as well. Ginger beer is big as a mixer, big on its own. Ginger beer has a lot of appeal because it has that nice burn to it.
Sure.
Very flavorful. I have been, working on building this business for a while, and recently opened in May of this year.
And where are you located?
We're located in the neighborhood of Larimer in the East End.
Okay, cool.
Specifically on Hamilton Avenue. We have a nice, cute little brewery there where we brew all of our product, but we also have a full bar where we can welcome people and, have them taste our ginger beer or enjoy a cocktail with it or enjoy just some good vibes in there too.
Nice. So why ginger beer? If you're going to get into craft brewing, everybody knows craft brewing is a big deal, and it's a growing space rapidly here in the Pittsburgh market. So why ginger beer?
Yeah, absolutely. Ginger beer is, and again, I'm one half of the co-founding team. So I'll give all the credit to my co-founder, Jackworth. He started brewing ginger beer about 13 years ago. In his closet in Philadelphia when he was living there. Yeah, that's where a lot of businesses started.
Absolutely.
He was brewing ginger beer because he was interested in home brewing. Didn't want to necessarily do beer, and was always curious why ginger beer was called ginger beer, but was not alcoholic. So he started doing some research into it and found that traditionally, pre-Prohibition, ginger beer was alcoholic.
Really?
Sometimes up to 12% ABV.
Wow.
And during Prohibition, they wanted to still, and people were still drinking ginger beer as something that is good for your stomach, as an immunity booster, if you will. They started brewing for ginger beer only to a point where it was fermented under 0.5%, so they could still drink it during Prohibition. During that time, there was a lot of people coming to the U.S. from Europe and bringing traditional beer making strategies into the U.S. market. So post-Prohibition, we had a big proliferation of beer, and beer became the low ABV drink of choice, and ginger beer stayed non-alcoholic. So he found all these old pre-Prohibition tactics of making ginger beer and started making it at home, and found that it's a very refreshing beverage. It's very unique to the point where it's not something that you typically see. And again, that we're one of only a few people doing it. And it is something that, in this day and age, with people moving away from beer, seeking beer alternatives, it's something that kind of fits right into a niche that is attractive to people when they're looking for a beer alternative.
And you said you guys keep it at around 5% ABV.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that the cutoff to where it's like considered an alcoholic beverage?
No, it's not. You find beers that are under 5% ABV, but 5% ABV for us is a sweet spot in terms of fermentation and, getting the right taste out of it as well.
Yeah, because you said 12%. I'd fall off my stool before I even got through that.
Exactly, yeah.
So how do you describe the taste? Because when people hear ginger beer, they're automatically going to go to ginger ale.
Right.
So how do you contrast that? What would you say if I come into your bar and I'm expecting ginger ale, that flavor?
Mm-hmm. Ginger beer is a little bit stronger on the bite of the ginger, on the ginger side of things.
Okay.
But the way we would describe it overall is refreshingly fiery. It's a refreshing beverage. We only use 4 ingredients in our ginger beer, so it's very simple. It's only ginger, water, sugar, and lime. That's it.
Really?
And there's other ginger beers out there that use other spices, other extracts, oils, etc. We like to keep it very, very simple.
Ginger, water, sugar, and lime.
Yep.
You see, I like 4 ingredients because I like simple, but other than the ginger and the water, I didn't expect the other two.
Oh, yeah. The sugar is required for us for the fermentation side of it.
Okay.
When you're fermenting, you have to have some sort of sucrose base that sits and ferments with the yeast to get to a percentage of alcohol.
Okay.
So our base is sugar. This is also very similar with like some seltzers, alcoholic seltzers that you see out there. They use sugar as a base, cane sugar. And the sugar also sweetens it as well. It helps us balance out the fieriness of the ginger with some sweetness of sugar.
Oh, okay.
But we don't use too much sugar. That's very important, as a lot of people are calorie conscious nowadays. So we keep it nice and light on the calorie side as well.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you're not a native Pittsburgher, although your partner is. So you took kind of a circuitous route to get to Pittsburgh. Born and raised in Michigan, came here by way of New York, college in New York City, and then found your way here. Where did you meet your partner?
My business partner and I met in college. We both went to Oberlin College in Ohio, and we were fast friends. And after graduating, he moved to Philly. I moved to New York, bounced around a little bit. We started working on this company when he was living in Stamford, Connecticut, just outside of the city. And anytime I would want to leave the hustle and bustle of New York, which was quite frequently, I would take a train up to him and go hang out with him. And that's when we found that this was a viable product that we should work on. He was working on ginger beer still at that time. And I took a taste of it. I was like, man, we got to create a company.
This is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And right at this time, too, this is when ciders were really proliferating. You started hearing a little bit about some spiked seltzers. This is before White Claws existed, but
Sure.
It was people were moving away from beer for something else. And we at that point we were like, man, this is gold, liquid gold.
It's really cool. Yeah. So talk us through. I know you just opened in May. But it was quite a process to get there. Talk us through that process of how, from where you started to May 9th when you guys opened up.
Sure. So back in Stamford, when we came up with this idea, we were still young professionals. Like, he was working at a brewery, I was working for a consulting firm, and we just started working on the business plan, just ideating, and really just in the infantile stages of like, hey, we have an idea, let's create something. But there's a lot of work that goes into it, right? You're not just creating a tech company that you can put online. This is a product that we have to physically make. It takes a lot of capital to get enough to get the fermenters and the brewery and all that stuff. So, we were just hashing out ideas, thinking about where we want to go, where we want to start. And we were also two people just trying to build our careers at the same time. So there was just a lot of work on being able to sustain our own lives while also doing this on the side.
Sure.
And having a lot of time during the pandemic to focus on other things, we started to get really serious about it. And that's when we felt confident enough in our business plan, confident enough in our product, to the point where we can start approaching friends and family to start raising some capital. And we finally raised enough capital to acquire our space about 2 years ago. And that's when we acquired our building that we have in Larimer, and really started, boots on the ground, building out our space. And we wanted to build a space that was part bar, part tasting room, but also where we can produce our products as well. And, all of that takes a lot of work as well, especially in Pittsburgh. We got to make sure that the contractors are coming in a certain order at certain times, and then you have to go through all the inspections. And
the permitting process in Pittsburgh is notorious.
Exactly. Exactly.
They're working on it, but it's improving, but it's still. So this idea basically is more than 5 years old to come from concept to fruition. That takes some dedication and commitment.
A lot of dedication, yeah. And I think dedication, commitment, timing. We talked about it till we were blue in the face, and a lot of people didn't think it would be a thing. But I think it was that part of it that really kept us going. Is we had to prove a lot of people wrong, and and the commitment is there were many times where we could have backed out.
Oh, yeah,
where we didn't,
absolutely.
We're just driven to make this a thing, and it's crazy that it's now all happening.
Yeah. So your background, your education is in neuroscience,
correct?
And which you aren't a trained marketer. Much like myself, I from our conversation, you do a lot of it by feel. With what feels right, in truth and authenticity and all those things. So, and I like to break down stereotypes. I mentioned this to you because, when you came in here, the last thing that I expected to hear out of you was that you had a degree in neuroscience, right? Tattoos, piercings, those types of things.
Oh, yeah.
People don't associate with that.
Right.
Smart people don't do that. They don't really. So from your marketing of this, and you guys do a great job at this. Your website, everything is very, very cool, very upscale, all those things. I mean, you're self-taught at that. Where did that come from?
I think a lot of it is I've always been an entrepreneurial person. Ever since I was in high school, I started landscaping businesses, whatever. And I've always had a lot of ideas, and have not been shy about sharing them. And I think that comes out in my appearance. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is self-taught, but it's also being able to have the confidence in sharing what I have on my mind with other people, and being able to take those ideas and run with them. I think through my years in New York and through my consulting days as well, I did spend a lot of time associated with a lot of people who were really incredible marketers, and I learned a lot from them. And I took everything from every interaction that I've had to apply it to what I'm doing today. And have used that as inspiration to be able to take a funny idea that I have and just put it on the internet and turn it into a marketing initiative to bring people in or to build community. I think that's the biggest thing for me is ideas build community. And that's really what drives me and my business partners to build community through our ideas.
Every successful business, small business, big business, it doesn't matter if you're Fortune 500 or if you're a little mom and pop, in Larimer, it doesn't matter. But building your community, finding your tribe, your community, whatever the case may be, that's how you succeed. You're not going to go out there and have mass appeal. Not everybody's going to like ginger beer. So you have to find your audience, your community that will rally around that, and that's where success happens. And that comes from what? Building relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think we're in the unique position where the idea of having an alcoholic beverage is a community builder. People will go out for a drink with their friends. People will go to a bar or go to our tasting room with friends. And we have a product, we have a space that brings people in, and allows us to share with a lot of other people. And that's really, truly at the core what we're trying to do is we're building community through our product. And uniquely, the space that we've built, the branding that we've come up with, it's not all my idea or Jack's idea. It's a culmination of ideas of other people we've worked with to put it all together. Yeah, it's been inspiring to help us grow more and more and more.
That's cool, and that's you're doing it right, because the best products, the best of marketing is a bunch of stuff. It's a compilation of a lot of things, distilled together, and you can make it a lot of different things. You can mold it different directions for a particular audience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So what advice would you give to a young entrepreneur that wants to start a business, not necessarily, around a beverage or anything like that, but just any business in general?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of it is confidence. Be confident in your ideas. Be confident in sharing your thoughts. Have dedication to your ideas. For us, especially as I was mentioning, this is years in the making,
right?
And we never gave up. A lot of that is just having almost a fear of failure is a big one too. It's having that fear of, a lot of people just will say, I don't want to do it because I'm afraid I'm going to fail. Right. But I want to be able to run as far away from that as possible and be able to, just have the confidence to make something happen. Just, and dedicate your life to it. Whether it's 5 minutes a day or, your entire day, just, work hard at being able to build whatever it is that, you want to build.
Yeah. So where do you go from here? What's next? What are the next steps? Where you guys hope to go?
Absolutely. We are in the process of, ramping up our production to a point where, we could start distributing at a larger scale.
Okay.
Right now, we not only serve our product on premises at our brewery, but we have 16 accounts that also carry our products. Goal is to expand our distribution through Pittsburgh, then outside of Pittsburgh. Down the line, we want to open up a few more tasting rooms under our brewer's license, where we can open up to 3 tasting rooms.
Nice.
And then outside of that, we would like to expand our distribution outside of Pennsylvania. And then, down the line, have some conversations with people who may want to acquire us.
See, I would have been surprised had you not gone that far.
Yeah.
Right? Because you guys, this took big vision to see this, right? So you got to the point over several years, you opened, and I knew that you already had a vision of where you're going to go and ultimately what your desired outcome would be.
Absolutely.
And that's really cool. And that's part of that success that, Metrico as well. You have to have that kind of vision.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to see through and beyond.
Yeah.
Where I am in 20 years, where Jack is in 20 years. We spend a lot of time in the beginning just focusing on, opening up. But I think the real thing that helped us open up was see through it and see where we were going to be eventually.
Sure.
And that's what our investors saw in us as well. And that's what investors see in us is, we have that vision to go to the next step. Right. Because there is an end goal. This is my life now. And this is going to be the thing that, I rest my hand on at the end of the day is knowing that we've built something that other people love.
People like you guys coming here and investing, bringing great ideas like that, the Pittsburgh community will embrace that.
Absolutely. And it's not just us. I'm really inspired by my peers as well, who are also going through with their ideas. I think we're experiencing a movement in Pittsburgh where I think a lot of people around my age, early 30s, I'll still say I'm in my early 30s, are building their own things. I have multiple friends who are opening up businesses just down the street from here.
It's fantastic.
And, we're building the Pittsburgh that we want. And that's what's beautiful about Pittsburgh, too, is we have the opportunity to do that.
Yes.
And it's because, again, we all support each other's ideas, and we support people building, whatever it is they want to do,
Right. That's the way it used to be. When I was young, it was, we didn't call them entrepreneurs. Nobody had invented that word yet. They were business people, right? But, I had friends whose maybe their father owned a bookstore or a shoe store, right? And those small local communities, that's what thrive. I grew up in a community called Shawlery down in Washington County, about an hour from here. And until I graduated high school and left home, I don't know that I owned anything that didn't come from that town, right? Then the malls came in, big box stores came in, and all of a sudden those thriving businesses are boarded up, But I see that coming full circle now through people like you who are investing in these downtowns, in these communities, in these small communities, and at the neighborhood level. And I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
I really do, on behalf of all of the Pittsburghers that are my age. I appreciate the enthusiasm that you guys are bringing to this community at that neighborhood level. I love that.
Thank you.
We
appreciate that.
We got away from it. We lost it. And you look at these little communities, and you need to get south. You need to go to Canonsburg in Washington County. You need to go over to like Greensburg and see all these little communities, 10, 15,000 people that are just vibrant, that are really small versions of this. You take, boom, and they're thriving for that reason. Their main streets are full. There's, those boarded up shops now are opened up again, and they're bustling, and it's really cool. And that's the kind of community that we can bring the city out like that and start to connect those dots.
Right, absolutely. And where we're located too, we're lucky enough to be in almost like a once forgotten corridor.
Right. Right.
Now you go down Hamilton Avenue where we're located, and you have all these. For example, our building used to be a print shop for steel mills. Right. Now it's a brewery. Right across from us is Goodlander Cocktails, a cocktail brewery. Then you have Kelvin Coffee right across the street on the other side. And then around the corner, you have East End Brewing. You have Dogtopia. You have... We got a Pizza Hut open up down the street.
We'll let them in. Because they don't fit the mold, but that's okay. We'll let them in.
And, right across the way from Bakery Square. So there's a lot of things coming into, once forgotten parts of the city.
Right.
And we're turning the East End, and we're part of turning in the East End into a destination. Excellent. Which is cool.
Excellent. So, closing thoughts. What's the most important thing you would like our viewers to take away from this conversation?
I would love for them to come try some ginger beer.
Tell them how to find you.
Absolutely. You can find us on Instagram. Our Instagram is at Jackworth Ginger Beer. That's where we do most of our communication with people.
Okay.
Or online at jackworth.co.com. You can find us at the brewery all the time. Either myself or Jack or
on Hamilton Avenue in Larimer.
Hamilton Avenue and in Larimer. Easy to spot. But overall, outside of that, I think the biggest thing is, I want people to see what we're building, see our vision, see, come join our community, but also I want people to be inspired to do whatever it is they want to do. I want to inspire other entrepreneurs. I want to be a community builder, community leader. And I would love for people to come, say hi.
You're doing that, young man.
Yeah.
Congratulations, and thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Best of luck to you, and I'm definitely going to try that.
Absolutely. Well, this is for you.
Thank you so much.